Hi there, my name is Michael, and today I'm going to be going over some basic GCSE chemistry topics, including moles and elements.
First of all, let's look at the term a dozen. When we say a dozen, we mean 12 of something. So I can have a dozen eggs, I can have a dozen dogs, I can have a dozen cars. So you can see on my page here, I have a dozen dots. Another way of representing this is by saying that I have one of my dots times by the number 12. If we look at the term a mole, we can say that this works in a very similar way. Instead of multiplying my red dot by the number 12, I multiply my red dot by the number 6.023 by 10 to the 23, and this is known as Avogadro's number. While a dozen can be used for apples, eggs, cars, anything, a mole specifically refers to particles and molecules. First of all, we can have atoms as particles. So we've got here a carbon atom, and if I was to say I had 1 mole of carbon, that is the same as me saying that I have one of my carbon atoms times by Avogadro's number, which is 6.023 by 10 to the 23. The same works again for molecules. So here I have a water molecule which has the formula H2O. So if I say that I have 1 mole of water, that is the same as me saying that I have one of my water molecules times by 6.023 by 10 to the 23. So if we go back to our carbon atom, we can see that I've got 1 carbon atom times by 6.023 by 10 to the 23. This means 1 mole of carbon. So if I have this many carbon atoms, which is quite a bit, this means that if I was to weigh them on a scales, I would get the mass of 12 grams. Now this is specific to carbon, but this mass is known as the molar mass. So you can see here, this would be my powdered carbon on the scale, and this would come to a weight of 12 grams. So I can say that I have 12 grams per 1 mole of carbon. And I can write this shorthand by saying that I have 12 grams per mole. Now if we zoom in on our periodic table, you can see that I have the element carbon here. On the bottom, you'll notice this number 12, and that is the molar mass, which we defined as the mass of 1 mole. This, however, does have a second meaning and is also known as the mass number. This also means the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of the atom. So you can see here I've got my nucleus for carbon, and I've got my positively charged protons and my neutrally charged neutrons. You can see that I've got a number on the top here, and this is the number 6. So this is known as the atomic number. And the atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. So last time we had the mass number, and the mass number referred to the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus, while here the atomic number only refers to the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. And what's the relevance of this? Well, if we know the number of protons and neutrons, and we know the number of protons, this means we can come up with a formula which will allow us to calculate the number of neutrons. So as you can see here, if I have my protons and neutrons, and I take away my protons, I'm left with my neutrons. Thank you very much for watching.